talk about like this pent up anxiety. I don't know if that's the right way to say that or not, but do you feel like society as a whole generally accepts anxiety or kind of shames anxiety?
I think if we talked about it more, it would be, I would say we accept it. But I think because we don't really talk about it, it's probably because we do have this sense of shame around it. Like we should be controlling our own anxiety. And when we see it in other people, then it's mirrored back at us. And there's definitely a shame trigger there. Like, why can't we just hold it all together all of the time? Right? Yeah.
And I mean, I think it doesn't matter, in your bio, it says a professional panic attacker. I don't know, not necessarily does everyone have anxiety to that point. However, anxiety is a feeling that we all feel at some point in our lives. And I think that there's like different stages of it. And so I agree. Like if we talk about it more and kind of make it more normal, then I think it will help a lot of people to understand not only that maybe they have a little bit of anxiety, but that they can get through it, right? And like the tools to get through it. So when did you know that you kind of had this anxiety in your life and it was kind of, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I don't want to say it was controlling your life, but I would guess it was controlling certain aspects of your life.
Yeah. Eventually it was controlling my life for sure. I had my first panic attack when I was just 6. And so I definitely started to know that there were things wrong then, but I didn't know I didn't know if other people felt that way. I was feeling uncomfortable for sure, but didn't have the vocabulary really to share it yet and didn't know if it was on some level normal and other people just weren't talking about it. Right. So, but then it wasn't until I think 5th grade when I started to have more depression and dissociation, where my intrusive thoughts, things that I would get really compulsive about, these, existential thoughts as a very young child, wondering where I was before I was born and where I was going after I died, things like that the adults couldn't answer. And so I couldn't really get out of that tailspin. That's just one example. But I think, so at a very young age, I felt like there were things that were, a little bit off in that I couldn't focus on school and things like that, or be happy and play with my friends the same way other kids did. I definitely was having these dark episodes. So I think it was that early. And then as it progressed, there were definitely points that I can look back on now, especially, calling a suicide hotline when I was at an Ivy League college, seemingly on top of the world, and everyone else there seemed really happy to be there. Mm-hmm. But under the weight of that pressure and years of anxiety, just progressing and getting worse, I was really unraveling at that point.
This is really interesting. So I would say, these are pretty deep thoughts that you're having as a child. Like, where did I come from before I was born? Where do we go after death? Like, where does that come from? Like, where do these deep thoughts as a child come from?
I think, well, I was brought up Catholic, and I can only imagine that it was things that I was hearing in church. They weren't conversations that we were having over dinner. That's for sure. No, but I was, my home life was volatile, and there was this, there was a lot of anxiety and untreated mental illness with my mom. So I think that I became very focused on what was going to happen in that house if things got so bad that people died.